I'm in Max. You are listening to Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Why, hello, and welcome to Season 21, Episode 12 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name, I have you muted right now, is Stu.
My name is Gina.
And I'm Tappy.
I did all the things but put my mic
Yes,
on.
we were almost ready to start the show.
I am on top of it today. I am not the last person to put their mic on.
I know. Good job.
I am proud of me.
Hi. In this episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast, Dave from Montreal writes in with a question about the hero's journey in RPGs. Eric from New Jersey asks about taking kids to game cons. And Mike from Maximum Irritation, or that might be Michigan, sends us a Pathfinder horror story.
Yeah.
But first,
Dun, dun.
if you would like to email us, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. We're also on the social meteors,
Yep.
the face bags, the twatters,
It would be so awesome if they were social meteors.
the instagasms. What?
It would be awesome if they were social meteors.
They should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
meteors that like each other.
In those, in all of those
pods.
platforms.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pods of meteors.
All of those platforms,
I like
Happy
that.
Jack's RPG, all one word. Search
Yeah.
it. You'll find our shit.
And how?
And if you want to watch the show live, you can watch it on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific time-ish. Pacific Daylight Time now.
Yeah.
At happyjacks.org/live. And anyone have any announcements or anything they want to make or anything like that?
No, does anybody actually type those into the URL anymore? Or do you just search for it?
I don't know. We still, I mean, I do get some people that use the short links because I can put happyjacks.org/something and it'll go anywhere I want it to go. And there are people that will use those occasionally. Not all the time. But
It's probably time to make your hotel reservations for GameX. Even
That's
though
right.
there isn't an NBA All-Star
Right.
playoff game.
Well, the con keeps growing every time.
Yeah, and they run out of rooms really fast.
I won't be there because I have teardown that weekend.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh man, sharing a con with the NBA people is fucking rad.
It's so awesome.
So good.
Like 2 or 3 times, I'd be in the one of the elevators, the smart elevators, and there'd be a couple of guys
yeah.
who were going to the NBA game or something. They'd look at me and they're like, "So what is this thing?" And I'm like, "Well, here's my elevator pitch."
You know how you guys are cool?
Oh man. What I get into is shoe conversations. Because I got my big ass goth boots.
Right.
Yes.
Right? And they're in like the fucking rad sneakers.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah. $300 sneakers.
Yeah, with spinning wheels and shit on them. Like, that's amazing. I'm like, that's amazing.
No one ever compliments me on my shoes. I'm wearing slippers right now because I'm in my house. I get to do that.
Going around a con in house slippers would be rad.
Okay, I got to talk about Sea of Thieves.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sea of Thieves came out Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah.
I think it was Tuesday. I think
Okay.
it was Tuesday. It was the 20th, whenever the 20th was. I think it was Tuesday. So I never got to play the beta because by the time I got everything downloaded and ready to go, the beta had ended. Because that little preview open beta was only like 3 days long.
It was short.
So, but I got to play it Wednesday when you
Yeah.
guys were playing the Spaniard's Ghost.
Ghost.
So there's no instructions, there's no tutorial. So you just kind of have to. They have a wiki, and that's their documentation. So I get on. You pick a person, right? And they give you 6 randomly generated pirates, and you pick one. Well, there was one with a hurdy-gurdy. And it's like, and I'm like, I'm totally picking the one with the hurdy-gurdy. Boom, click the one with the hurdy-gurdy. Didn't realize, because it was up here, that the person playing the hurdy-gurdy had a rack.
Oh,
It was a female character, whatever. But when I get to the thing, no hurdy-gurdy. I'm denied.
Are you kidding?
No hurdy-gurdy. That's something you have to find in the game. It's just they happen to show it there, I guess. I don't know.
That's some
I
bullshit.
felt a
That's
little
bait and
deceived.
switch.
So I picked the small ship, the sloop. You can either have a galleon or a sloop.
Right.
Because
Because you need less people for the sloop, right?
well, you can run everything on one,
But you don't recommend it.
No, they don't recommend it. And I'll tell you why. I go in and I find my first quest, because you go to the merchant guys and they'll tell you, so-and-so on such and such island needs a red speckled hen and a white feathered hen.
Okay, so it's exactly like a Bethesda game.
Yes. So they and then you pick up. Then you have to take your proposal, your mission. You have to go back to your ship, even if you're playing by yourself. Set it down on the table, and then vote to accept it. Because you're a pirate crew, right?
Right.
You vote on everything.
Yeah.
So even though there's only one of me, I have to go in and vote. Then I can go back to see. Now this isn't very far away. This is just it's on the dock. I just have to jump off the dock and go see the guy. Then I get a chicken coop, and I put the chicken coop down. Then I have to go get another chicken coop and set the second chicken coop down. It took me 10 or 15 minutes to Google online how to set down the chicken coops. It's the X key, by the way. I'm playing on a PC. I'm not playing on my Xbox One, because Zachary has powered through Fallout 4. Even though I could barely get to the first town in like 4 days, in less than a week, he's finished with it. And now he's trying to get to max level. So, but he has a version of the game too, and it's cross-platform. So the two of us can play and make up part of a crew.
Oh, that's cool.
You can only. Did I hear correctly? Yeah,
4.
that's a kind of a bummer.
Well, I think the reason they said it that way is, well, here's the problem. So I get my chicken coops, and I didn't realize there's no chickens in them. I thought, I just need to go deliver these to this other island. So I go to the other island, and I go and hand the thing to the merchant, and he's like, the chicken coop is empty. And I'm like, shit, I have to go find chickens. Go on the wiki, where do I find chickens? And they didn't have anything on their wiki, so I went to some people have started posting things already, because even though it's only out a couple days. And said larger islands tend to have more wildlife, so that's the best place if you're trying to find specific things. So I find I look at my map, and there's a large island not far, just to the east of where I am. So I sail over there, anchor my boat, take one of my chicken coops, land on shore, go back, take the other. To
find the wild chickens.
To find wild chickens.
Right.
Then I'm wandering around like an idiot with a chicken coop, trying to find chickens, and I get attacked by skeletons, so I have to drop it, and I fight the skeletons, kill them. I find the first one, it's the white feathered hen. I take it back, and I swim very carefully, because I'm not good enough with the boat. Since there's only one of me piloting it, I can't bring the boat neatly up to the dock. I'm just kind of stuck in the middle of the water. So I swim out, because if I dunk the chicken coop, the chicken drowns. I have to go find fucking another chicken. So I set it on the deck. I don't even put it in the hold. It doesn't matter where I put it, but I set it on the deck because I want to get the other chicken and get out of here so I can go finish the thing. Go back, grab the second one, go out, and I find the red speckled hen. I'm coming back through the jungle, and I come out onto the beach, and there's my ship. And what's next to my ship? Another fucking ship.
Oh.
And I can see someone jumping between them, like, motherfucker!
Well, you were catching chickens.
Right. So I don't want to leave the chickens sitting here, because what if his buddies are on the island someplace
and they
just
take your chicken coops?
And they take my chicken coop. Then I got to go back to the other island and get more chicken coops. So I swim out. He doesn't notice me. I climb on what I think is my boat, and I was correct. And I set my chicken coop down just as he jumps over from the other boat. And he had his voice thing on, and he said, "Oh, is this the beginner mission?" And I pull out my sword, and he pulls out his sword, and his buddy, who I had not seen on the other boat, shoots and kills me. And so they took both of my chickens.
And they're like, yes, this is the beginner mission, you asshole.
That's so sad.
How long have you been playing this game? I've been playing for 5 days. So since the beginning, you asshole.
It came out on Tuesday. I'm doing this on Wednesday.
Yes, but they've been playing since the beta, probably.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's probably true.
Right.
But there were only 2 of them. So the conclusion I came to is playing it by yourself, not a good idea.
So, funny story about chickens and islands. Right? So I have a friend who is a firefighter for many years on San Clemente Island. And the only thing on that is like military shit.
Right.
So he's got nothing to do. And he's kind of a prankster kind of guy. So he has this alter ego he called Daryl. And he got this fake chicken thing and brought it over, put it in a cage with him as Daryl, and was took a picture of Save the San Clemente chickens. That they were endangered. And this is very early for online prankstery stuff. And he posts this somewhere on like a Usenet group probably or something. Has a laugh, goes about his day. Turns out that goes viral.
Nuh-uh.
And people start flipping out about the San Clemente chickens.
As you do.
And how they're going to die because it's a military base and they're going to blow these things up. And what are you going to do? These are
Damn military, man.
So
Yeah.
so the commander of the base for the entire island starts getting all of this flack from conservation groups.
Oh, no.
And starts going around like, what the fuck is a San Clemente chicken? And starts going on, goes to his boss, and his boss is like, oh, I know what's up.
No.
Now,
What'd you do?
Was he like a civilian firefighter, or he was in the military?
He was civilian firefighter.
Okay, so he
Right, so
he's not in Leavenworth.
Yeah, no. But yeah, there are some pictures he has, and like people would print it out or put in. There's a newspaper thing that actually about the San Clemente chickens,
right?
And like how they were like one of the last two he had like captured in this cage, because all the rest of them were just dead in the wild.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Too
bad that was before GoFundMe, or he probably would have had a random GoFundMe.
Right.
Well, then he would really be in jail.
Yeah.
Because then that's
fraud.
This
that's
is
fraud.
true.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, I had fun playing the game, even though it's very frustrating. But you go into it. The game is called Sea of Thieves.
Oh.
Go into knowing it's all PvP, basically.
PvE.
Big foreshadowing.
No, but all
Everything.
the people you can attack.
Yeah.
Except your own crew.
Right.
If you once you're part of a crew, I don't think you can even accidentally attack each other. I'm not sure. I haven't been crewed up with anyone yet, but I've already.
Well, you've been crewed up with a couple chickens.
Right. Yeah. Yes, that's true. But them I can kill, because if you catch the wrong one, you just kill it, and then because that's the only way to empty your cage. And then you have to go kill it. Yes.
Oh man, I got a fox.
Right. Or pig.
What does the pig say?
There's a lot of pigs. So yeah, but I'm definitely going to play it again. And it's gorgeous. David mentioned to me how gorgeous the water was, and he's right. When you're swimming underwater, looking up, it looks the way the water looks, the way the light glints off of it. It's beautiful. But you got to play it with more than one person.
Right.
If you got a crew of 3 or 4, I have a feeling you're going to do okay, because you can go hunt your chickens while other 2 people stay on the boat, and your boat has cannons. So if someone else is coming along on the horizon, you start shooting at them, they're going to go find easier prey.
Right.
So
somebody who's by themselves.
Exactly. And there's a lot of people like that.
Oh, man. So you just go around, like, when you have a crew of, like, 6.
You can only hit 4 as the max.
Oh, okay. 4 is the max.
I think they set it as the max, because if you get an organized group of, like, 12 people or something.
Oh, then you'd be, like, fucking people
then
shit
you
up.
rule the
that's like, oh, look, the Royal Navy has shown up.
Right.
No, the pirates go run away. So, but
So you could technically have a group of like 20, all get your own 5 ships and all talk to each other.
Absolutely, yes.
And do that stuff, even
And
though
like-
you're not technically grouped up.
yeah, if you're within a certain distance of each other, you can hear each other's chats.
Really?
I'm not sure exactly how that works, because
interesting.
I haven't messed with that yet.
Right.
But the dude was able to talk to me. I didn't have my microphone enabled. Maybe if I had, they wouldn't have shot me.
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh, and also maybe not pulled your sword.
They gave you a new nickname in the chat room.
What was my new nickname?
Stu Paul. Because the camera is doing that thing it does where it looks like you have rosy cheeks.
Oh,
and I tried to
it?
fix it, did the thing, but it's still,
That's
It's
all right.
rosy.
All right.
You look fetching.
Thank you.
Yes.
The Hero's Journey in RPGs from David in Montreal. Or, help, my players don't like to lose ever. Or, can we convince some players to lose a little for the sake of story? Those are my things.
Subject.
Hey, Stu.
I love how it's spelled.
I'm ignoring the fact that he spelled my name wrong, but he may have done that intentionally. That's okay, because that's probably the more common spelling. Stewart.
S-T-E-W?
Stewart. That's probably more common.
Oh, right.
The Hero's Journey is a classic way to tell a story. Many well-loved movies have the Hero's Journey story arc frame. In the Hero's Journey, we are introduced to the hero. They take a call to action. Sometimes they refuse. Then something happens that changes their mind. Then they set out on the adventure. and they at one point are set back by or defeated by bad guys. The heroes then overcome the defeat, usually by learning something, and then defeats the bad guys. The hero is thus changed by the journey. How do you get players to buy into the defeat part of the hero's journey when most players only want success? David McBride, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And I actually found a little graphic on Wikipedia that shows
that was you?
The hero's journey. Yeah, I put that on there.
Yeah.
Can they see that?
Yes,
This is the Joseph Campbell
I think
hero's journey.
Yeah, it was in there. Pull back
I
a
like
little bit.
Joseph Campbell too. Comparative mythology is great.
Yeah, now it's washed out. It was there.
It was there. Okay.
Yeah.
So the if you go on Wikipedia and you search for the hero's journey, you'll get this little circular graphic, and it's a call to adventure, supernatural aid, which I don't know. I was looking at this from the point of view of A New Hope, and it almost follows this exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's the call to adventure, because he was like, oh, you know of the rebellion and that whole thing, and the supernatural aid is maybe meeting Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then the threshold or guardians, which is the thing that stops you from going on the journey. That's Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru,
right? And then there's
a helper who is the stormtroopers who kills them,
right?
And then but the whole idea of it is that there are roadblocks, there are ups and downs, there are things that need to be overcome, and there's setbacks that are going to happen,
right?
And then you need to bounce back from those. So I mean, it makes a really interesting story,
right?
And I do know there's a lot of players,
and if you only succeed time and time and time again, it's a relatively boring story to tell.
It is.
It is.
I can see where there are those moments in games sometimes where you think you really need to succeed because you've got that momentum building, and then that failure feels like it's not right, but in hindsight, it's always rad as fuck.
Failure should feel wrong.
Yes.
It should.
Yeah.
Right?
So
I mean, it's not fun to lose.
No.
It's not fun to have setbacks.
It's even when I play, I'm disappointed if it's too easy, and I want it to be challenging, and I want there to be conflict that I'm not expecting. But there are absolutely still times when you're up against something that you're like, you've been building momentum towards this awesome thing, and you fucking fail. But then in that second, it might feel bad, but then it's always better for the story. So.
And it just makes the victory at the end sweeter.
It totally does.
The other thing, too, is the players don't have to personally lose to have a loss. Alderaan blowing up is a thing that has nothing to do with the characters, but is a setback that they then have to do something about.
Right.
Right? And so it's like a dragon you're tracking down burns the fucking town down or whatever, and then it's, oh shit, this is really serious, we have to do something.
It's not their personal failure, it's a horrible thing that's happened,
right? Which is something they may have supposed to have stopped,
right?
Or is just a horrible thing that happened, like we need to go to this town to get the 7 keys of Ventuzler, town explodes. Well, fuck, all right, well, we still need these goddamn 7 keys,
right?
Now you have that transformation, and oh my gosh, we need to atone for letting this horrible thing happen. Maybe if we hadn't been looking for this 7 keys of Ventuzler, they wouldn't have blown up. So we need to. There's something bad with these things that we need to figure out. But it just it doesn't have to be them failing dice rolls.
Absolutely.
So that is probably the easiest thing.
Right. Or have them get their butt kicked. To the point where and we've talked about the fact that it's hard to get players to retreat.
Oh yeah. Like they will die before they'll retreat.
It really kind of depends on the game, though, because I had, when we played the one of the early L5R games, they never saw it, but it was a troll. Is it trolls? Are there trolls in L5R? What am I thinking of? Maybe
ogre?
An ogre. It was an ogre.
Those things are fucking scary.
They're huge.
Yeah. They have like Earth 6 or some shit like that.
Yeah, they're awful. And they were in this swamp area where there was, the taint was abound. And it's foggy, and they start hearing the impact tremors of something. They get in their fucking wagon and they ran. But that's a game where if you're up against matched foes, It's a coin cost
Yeah.
if you're going to walk out of that alive. Something that's making the ground shake when it walks.
Right.
Fuck that.
I had the same thing with the Traveler game that I ran because I had modified it to be even more deadly. And so, like, Bill's character didn't get into fights; he got into murders. Right. But then another one of my characters, or one of my players, she really likes to fight, and there was this thing where there was a realization that there was something really bad going on with this group of people where they had these robotic stare things, and they were all armed, and there suddenly were red eyes and all moving exactly in the same way, like they were being taken over by something.
Ruh-roh.
And so the players are like, "We're out of here. Fuck this shit. Fuck all of this shit." And this one player's like, "Oh no, I got this." And so she attacked. They turned.
Right. Hey, Professor.
Yeah. Hey, Professor. And then the rest of the players are like, "Let's get the fuck out of here now."
Right.
But that is, I mean, the more deadly the system, the more seriously they're going to take violence.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you can have one of those situations if you're playing a real deadly game. I mean, you're not going to get this in any higher level D&D or things like that. But if you're playing a deadlier game, you can put them up against scary odds and be reasonably certain that they're going to, unless one of the characters has a death wish, you're reasonably certain that they're going to run away. And that runaway is going to be your plot low point.
Right.
Right.
Or you can have failure be something other than them running away. Like they have to stop a sacrifice.
Right.
And the sacrifice happens. Okay, well, the sacrifice happened. There's nobody to save.
Right.
Well, and sometimes I'm going to point this out before I forget this thought, but in the chat room, I think it was Cloak72 called us up for shenanigans on the always, because they're saying hyperboles, absolutes are rarely
Oh
correct.
my God.
But it's the idea that failure is always better for a story. They're saying it's not always better for a story.
I think they misunderstand what we're saying here.
I think a story that involves a failure at some point is going to be a more interesting story than a story that is nothing but success after success after success.
I think so too. I think the point maybe they're making is that if it was for some reason failure upon failure upon failure upon failure,
no.
like,
and that's not what we're talking
about.
That's
not what we're talking about at all.
That's not what the hero's journey is.
No.
Obviously, we're not talking about the player should always fail.
No,
I mean, that...
Because that doesn't feel good.
Sorry, that isn't taken for granted.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're talking about here is
We're not
a
talking
big
about a
failure
horrible GM.
within this hero's journey. There's a point, there's an abyss, there's the tower, if you're doing tarot cards, right? It's
the low point.
Right, the crucible.
Luke
in which
getting his hand chopped off and running away back to...
Obviously, right?
To Yoda.
So, like, if Luke stabbed Darth Vader right then, how awesome of a story is that?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's more what we're saying here, not...
Now, I do think that brings up an interesting point, and that is the difference between writing a story and playing a role-playing game.
Yes.
Because trying to impose a writer's archetype or a writer's framework for a story on a game, while it's, I think, a noble goal, it is often not that doable.
No, or you end up feeling like your NPCs sometimes you're an NPC in a story because you're just fulfilling, a role
Right.
in the
There has to be...
predetermined.
Go ahead. I'll keep going.
I dislike writing a story to run people through.
Absolutely.
I dislike it.
100%.
I do not want to know what
Yeah.
the ending is, and I want to figure that out with everybody.
Sure.
I do want to have trials and tribulations to put them through.
Sure.
I do want to have an idea of what, everything can't just be hunky-dory at the beginning of the game, and you're like, do stuff.
Yes.
There has to be something that imbalances the characters to the point where they are actively trying to overcome something.
There's some kind of plot hook or something that's going to get them to go right.
Exactly. And so with these trials and tribulations, you can have something that really like, they find this thing really important. Okay, I'm going to fuck with that thing now and see where they go.
Right.
And that is a good one for this abyss for this.
That's your call to adventure.
Right. And when things tend to go, like, responding with fuckery is one of the things for Apocalypse World. And so when they do something good, you can respond with fuckery. When they do something bad, you can really respond with fuckery.
Yep.
And just kind of go down that rabbit hole. And I think that is a lot of fun. But, like, forcing them can just feel like, well, what the fuck am I doing here?
Exactly.
I was going to bring up Apocalypse World too, because that's a die roll where it may affect something that happens in a game, but it doesn't have to be right when the die roll happens. So you've got your fronts that you're working on behind the scenes, and I fail my roll. So in reality, or mechanically, I don't necessarily succeed at what I'm doing. But you can actually just say, yeah, you succeed.
You did good.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there waiting for my, your gun fell in the water, you hit it, and no, that's good.
Or the bomb you just made blows up when you place it.
Right.
Yeah.
In your face, right.
But the GM can actually withhold that and
yep. The virus that is infecting your town is that much worse.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't necessarily, so I don't know, and that's going to happen.
But I think there's a tendency for a lot of GMs to try to shape the story using some sort of framework like this, and they're two different animals. Sitting down and writing a story or writing a screenplay is an entirely different thing than playing a role-playing game. You can't. I mean, you can definitely, if you've got a good group of players who are into creating a good story, you can definitely sit down and have those tragic moments or those low points where things aren't going their way and the characters are getting disheartened and maybe they're fighting amongst each other and have those really dramatic moments, and very often that's going to be buy-in from the players. And I really think a lot of that buy-in to the sort of ebb and flow of a story comes down to the players trusting the GM, that the GM is there to make sure that the story is interesting and that the story is fun.
And that they're a fan of the player characters in that story.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
In the end,
Yeah.
you're going to want them to, unless you're playing Call of Cthulhu or something like that, you're going to want them to succeed, and you're going to want them to have some victory, even if it's a small one. You know what I mean? And so you got to, I think stuff like this, applying sort of frameworks for fiction in RPGs, I do think is very valuable.
Right.
I think understanding how those things work, if you've ever read Hamlet's Hit Points? By Robin D. Laws.
Yeah.
No, what the fuck is this thing?
I think
Hamlet's
I'll have to
Hit
find it. I've got a copy of it. I'll lend it to you.
Yeah.
Tyler bought it for me.
Neat.
He basically talks about Hamlet using story beats, when the story, things go well and when things go bad, and how to apply that in the role-playing game framework.
That's fucking cool.
And Robin D. Laws is very good. He's like, here's Hamlet, and I think.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Hamlet's Hit Points?
No, Robin D. Laws.
Robin D. Laws. He wrote a lot for Steve Jackson Games in the early days.
Oh, okay, right.
He also wrote. Oh, come on, the Gumshoe System.
Oh, fuck yeah, that system's rad.
Right.
For a type of game that I hate to run. Because I do not like running investigation games.
Right.
In Gumshoe, I will actually run investigation games in.
Well,
It's really good.
your skill successes are
Awesome podcast. Ken and Robin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ken and Robin talk about stuff.
Yeah.
But it's worth reading because it not only describes here's how the beats of the story happen and here's the rises and falls of the characters, whatever. But here's kind of how you can apply it to role-playing games because it's not the same thing, and it will never be the same thing. Because anytime, he wrote Feng Shui as well.
Oh, fuck yeah!
Right.
Love Feng Shui. He didn't write the card game. He wrote the role-playing
RPG.
game, the RPG of it. Right.
But
because he's the guy who came up with the Battle Chimp Potemkin, which is still the greatest name for a character ever.
That's awesome. But I mean, there's definitely something valuable to learn from the way stories are structured.
Right.
And to use it as a GM to say, okay, my goal for this session is to hit that dramatic low point. You might do it, You might not.
Yeah.
The dice might not be in favor of that happening.
Yeah.
Maybe you put them up against overwhelming odds, and they roll amazingly and succeed.
Or
well.
maybe they like turn to the left and completely pass by your big combat.
Right.
And at that point, like letting them go by, rewarding them for that thing is a fine thing
Sure.
for a GM
Yeah.
to do. And just, okay, well, next time will be...
Now to kind of drill down on his specific question, how do you get players to buy into the defeat part of the hero's journey when most players only want success?
Well, I think like the easiest way is to have it not be directly related to the characters.
Right.
Like if they are trying to save, like the sacrifice thing, they're trying to save somebody who's being sacrificed. That person gets sacrificed in front of them. Ultimate power goes into the bad guy. Oh fuck!
And he flies away.
And he flies away or something.
And
there
it may
you go.
not even
Perfect.
it may not even be a result of bad die rolls. It may just be a result of bad timing.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys showed up and the ceremony, it was just finishing up when you guys walked into the table.
Right. Or it's just overwhelming odds that you're.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe they could. Maybe they could, but you got to get through a lot of fucking people.
Right.
I
But
think
that's still not them dying.
No, but I also think, because absolutely, that is true. But I also think you can, I don't know, reinforce the fact that if bad happens to them and maybe they succeed, but their favorite NPC or their favorite party member dies, that, I don't know, just reinforcing that how badass that is. And just what sort of emotional tones that strikes.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Like if there's this badass NPC
Yeah.
who's way more cool than everybody, and he dies and everybody else
Yeah.
survives. It's like,
Yeah.
you guys are motherfucking amazing.
Yeah.
You're the new
No, but I mean,
Ranger of Kevlar or whatever the fuck. Ranger of Kevlar. I should
The magical Kevlar forest.
Yes.
No, I also mean though, like one of my favorite games that
That's
I ever played.
Seven Keys of Ventuzla.
No,
Seven Keys of Ventuzla is the best name ever.
Yes.
it is. But I've
Sorry, go ahead.
no, that's okay. I've mentioned it, I think, before. But one of my favorite games I've ever played was Tears and Kisses one shot, where the entire game I'm building up to you want to break out of the city and you're going to say fuck the man and you're going to get out of here, but you are more successful if you do it with your someone you've made a connection with. And so there was a connection, a love connection I built with another character, and I just really wanted us to get out of here together. And
Right.
in the end, we get out, but she basically dies as we're getting out of the city. And it was just like, because I fucked up my last roll, I got to get out, but I didn't get to get out with her. So in my mind, though, like, it was horrible.
Right.
Like, I built up half this game in my mind thinking, okay, I'm getting closer to this goal and we're going to be able to do this, and there are setbacks and we're pushing forward and we get to this, penultimate moment in the scene and I fuck up a critical roll. So I'm basically on a monorail or, some kind of bullet train out of the city with this person who basically dies on my shoulder. But that is one of the most powerful moments I've ever had in a game. And I can literally picture it like it's a movie. And it was horrible at the time. I made that roll and it was like, oh, I fucked up. And, there's not re-rolls or bennies or, but it became one of the best moments just because everybody else at the table was like, oh my God, that is it's poignant. It's
Right.
amazing. It was unexpected. And so there was both this kind of win condition, this winning moment, but at a huge cost. So
Sure.
it was amazing.
And that, I mean, those kinds of moments when things just completely go sideways, often because of a die roll, can be some of the biggest high points
Yep.
of a game.
Yep.
I'm no mere hedge mage.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've got a maid. I tell the story all the time because it is literally the most ridiculous thing I've ever done as a GM.
It's hey, professor.
Right. I'm like, okay, the party
awesome.
is now at a level where I'm going to have them fight a mage with a fireball. Because if I had done it in levels earlier, I would have killed the whole party. But now, fuck it. So this guy, he's there. He's got his minions in front of him, and he tells them they need to stop, and he wants to search something or whatever it is he said, and they tell him that they're not going to do it, and he looks at them and says, "I'm no mere hedge mage," and then he starts, doing his incantations.
I am no mere hedge mage.
And then everyone rolls their
less than that.
right. So everyone rolls their initiative.
Yeah.
Oh, we need T-shirts of that.
I roll a 3.
You roll
I
a
go
3.
last.
Yep.
He was dead before his turn. And that is
Good job.
Cannonball. You got a pool or a pond there.
It's on camera.
I got a pool and a pond. Pond would be good for you.
Oh my god.
You're taking a bong hit off of a can of beer.
You are. That was a good noise. Oh, well, still coming.
I love these beers.
I wonder if you ever did the thing. I wonder if that would
Go Boddington.
Man, it just
You have to
it
finish
just
it.
like shoot into my eyes.
You'd have to finish the fucker. But that story, not just by me, but that story was a high point for the characters because of the fact that something happened that was entirely unintentional by one die roll.
Yeah.
Ended up entirely changing the course of the thing. And I had set this guy up as a badass. I mean, this is like, I'm like, yeah, I'm no mere hedge mage. And then gone. He leaned into the first punch. But I to me, if you've got players who are really reluctant to have their characters lose or to embrace the defeat part of it,
Yeah.
I honestly think that comes down more to trust between player and GMs than anything
Right.
else. And I'm not saying this because I'm saying you're a bad GM, your players don't trust you. That's not what I'm saying at all.
No.
What I'm saying is your players have to know that you are a fan of those characters.
Right.
Yep.
And you need to probably explicitly say that to them. Say, I want your characters to be the biggest fucking heroes this world has ever seen. But for that to happen, you've got to pay your dues.
Right.
There's got to be some dark moments too.
Absolutely. And every player is not going to buy into that.
Absolutely. Yes.
Some of them are just never going to.
But there are those players who maybe aren't used to that kind of play.
Yeah.
Where they're used to going in the dungeon, kick down the door, fight the
Yeah.
monster, take the treasure. Kick down the next door, fight the monster, take the treasure. That's what they're used to. So giving them something that has a story arc where there are high points and low points, I think it would go a long way to let them know, hey, this is what I'm trying to do.
Right.
Yep.
And there's for the high points to have
Yep.
the meaning that they should, you got to have the low points too.
Yep.
Because in the board game of D&D, it feels like the GM is adversarial.
Right.
Right. And so when you get beyond that, it's one of the reasons, like, I know lots of people, D&D is their favorite role-playing game ever. And that's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's totally cool. But going beyond the board game of it is what's important.
Right.
And that's how they feel that you're not an adversary.
Absolutely.
This is also why I did, remember in 4th edition I did the hack to D&D for like the GM never rolls.
Right.
And so everything,
fascinating.
Yeah, everything is like static numbers. Like their attack is 25, which means they need to roll a defense roll
Yep.
over 25.
Yep.
So when they're rolling their own die rolls, they don't have anything really to blame something on.
Right.
And
And even though the GM is rolling random dice, it does kind of eliminate
yeah.
that thought that the GM is adversarial.
Because I mean, it's exactly the same of them rolling it or the GM rolling it. But when they roll their own things and they fuck up, they don't blame you.
Exactly.
And the other thing is, and this is something that I firmly believe, is just never, ever, 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 ever fudge die roll.
Right.
You just can't. That will destroy your trust. And also, it stops cool things from happening.
It really does.
Once I fudged the die roll because I thought it would piss
Yep.
somebody off, and it really, really hurt the story.
Yeah.
I fudged once to be nice because I didn't want to kill a character.
I
Right,
do think
and
there are.
I wish I would have.
Yeah.
Not
do-
to be a dick, but it was
No.
the right thing to do.
And also,
Not-
it'd be so poignant.
Yep.
Not to rehash
Yep.
the dice fudging because we
Yeah.
while you were gone for 7 years, We had about a year-long debate
really
about
that
dice
long?
fudging.
Well, yeah, I was.
It didn't seem like it was
5
that
years?
long.
No,
5 maybe.
No, it's been a long time.
No, it's been a long time.
My kids were tiny,
yeah.
and now they're.
I think it's been about 7 years.
Yeah. But when
I thought against.
this is the example I bring up. We had a game where I was running a GURPS game, and players just sat down to play, and it was a game day, so we had like 2 or 3 games going in the house, and there was like a real quick combat in the very beginning of the game, and one of the bad guys took a pot shot at one of the player characters with a rifle in GURPS,
I know how this goes.
and I rolled a 3.
Right.
In almost every
Whoops.
in almost every circumstance, that would kill that character in the first 10 minutes of the game of a 4-hour game slot. And I'm like, I'm ignoring that die roll. I'm not. No. I'm like, oh, yeah, he wings you, or I don't even remember what I said, but no, he doesn't shoot you in the head, and you're not dead because that's fucked.
Right.
So I do think there are times when fudging die rolls on a player GM level, on a human to human level, not on a game level, is the right thing to do. But you're taking into account the real world part of the fact that you're playing a game rather than
Right.
what's going on. But I agree with you most of the time. That's an edge case.
Right,
Yeah.
that is an
Total
absolute
edge
edge case. I mean, you could say, and I don't want to rehash something you've done before. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
don't give an NPC a rifle that you don't want them to use.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
I mean, just
Yep.
give them a handgun.
Right.
Yep.
But L5R, any fight
Oh, yeah.
could end somebody,
Yep.
and everybody has to buy into that.
Yeah.
Because, bandits,
Oh, yeah.
someone's fucked. So
Right.
it does make it is a different world. Like when you're playing D&D, getting into combat is much safer than if you're in GURPS or L5R.
Absolutely.
And that's something I think that GMs need to take into account when they're actually putting the game together.
Yeah. I agree.
I was
Go
going to say, chat room is saying it's 5 years because 2 of them were on their first marriages.
Oh,
And you
okay.
were still on here. So they know.
All right, so 5 years.
Let's
Yeah.
see, which marriage was I on when Tappy
Yeah.
left the show?
Yeah.
I was on my
but
first.
lots of them are, not to go down the rabbit hole of the dudging fudge,
Right.
the fudging dice. They're
Feist.
Yeah, dudging Feist. They're saying that edge cases and my players know.
that
and-
is a serious
yeah.
edge case.
Yeah.
It is. It totally is. I completely.
But
and
I
you
can
know what?
totally understand doing that in that sort of edge case.
Many and I roll out in the open now. Well, I mean, I'm not like, but I
Yeah.
roll, and if I roll something that's like ridiculous, I'm like, I point at it and said, "Someone witnessed what I just
Yeah.
rolled."
This isn't me being a dick.
Right. But I do think some of the more memorable moments in my games have been because of a dice roll.
Really?
That
you fudged?
No.
Oh. 'Cause I'm like,
a
whoa.
dice roll that was very outside of the expected
Yep.
results.
I agree.
Oh man, I had
me.
this one great time in a Shadowrun game when I threw a grenade unskilled. And in Shadowrun, also when you're
as you
inside,
do.
it does a thing where the blast ray bounces off the walls and comes back. And so if you're in an enclosed area, it's like a blender. It's like a frog in a blender.
It is.
It's what it's like.
I guess it depends on what the walls are made of.
Can I tell you I can't wait to play Monster Hearts with you now? We're going to play Monster Hearts
It's gonna be
together.
amazing. But I made the roll. And I'm like, I'm going to throw a
Whoa.
grenade. Do you have a skill? Nope. And everybody looks at me like,
You fucker.
you motherfucker, you signed our
You're
death
going to kill
warrants.
us all.
And then I succeeded. But
Excellent.
but yeah, I mean, like those points are.
But you went into it knowing.
But yeah,
chances
it's like
are.
chances
Yeah.
are this is gonna fuck us all up. But this is what I'm doing.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is my guy's first run,
Yep.
And he brought a grenade.
and he brought a grenade.
God damn it, he's going to use it.
God damn it, he's gonna use it.
That's everyone's thought when they bring their first grenade. I brought one grenade, and God damn it, I'm going to use
That's
it.
another T-shirt. Look, motherfucker.
So, I think
Yeah.
I think we've answered his question as completely as possible.
Yeah.
I honestly think that you should sit down with the players and actually let them know, A, that you as the GM are a fan of the characters and you want them to succeed, but you would like to have the leeway to have some sort of story that has ebbs and flows, that has ups and downs, and that just because that there's a down does not mean that they're failing as characters, does not mean that they have lost the session. It only gives them a better jumping off point to soar into heroism.
Right.
True.
That would be my suggestion.
It's true.
Right.
And I want to thank you. That was a very thought-provoking email. And I mean, these kinds of emails are there. We've been doing the show now for
Many
9 years.
Yeah.
So
Jesus fuck.
yeah, no shit. 2009 when we started.
Wow.
It was 2018.
July episode 000.
July, yeah. It was right after. It was like the day after my birthday in July that I did episode 0.
I was a young man then.
Yes, you were. I was a middle-aged man. but I think it is to get. I mean, we used to get these kinds of emails all the time, and because of we've talked about so many topics over the last 9 years that a lot of stuff has gotten covered, and it's very rare for someone to come up and give us an email that really comes up with this sort of a. I'm not saying the rest of the emails suck.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not saying the rest of the emails suck. But it is awesome to have this kind of really thought-provoking email show up when we've been doing this for as long as we have.
Right. Well, and it's specifically like this type. I mean, this is very academic.
Yes.
This sort of email, whereas like the hero's journey is a thing that people have studied and studied much longer. I mean, Joseph Campbell is one of the more contemporary people, but I mean, in the 19th century, they were studying comparative mythology and stuff like this.
Right.
The other thing that I would suggest people, even if we talked about something in 2010, you can ask again because our opinion may have changed.
Absolutely. Oh, dice fudging. My opinion on dice fudging has changed a lot. I used to be a lot more lenient about dice fudging in the early days. I used to always roll in secret, and my goal was to not kill characters. But
and to also like guide the story. Oh, this die roll doesn't fit my story.
not as much that. It was more to make sure that the players didn't have to sit and go through character generation while everyone else was playing.
Right.
I basically was insulating the characters from danger, which in and of itself
Yep.
is a disservice to the game.
Yep.
Right.
No, I totally agree.
I
seen
absolutely
a
agree.
lot of people over just even the shorter period of time that I've been gaming change from rolling behind a screen to just rolling out front.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
It's not. I was going to say you learn to trust the dice, but no. But you learn to realize that the randomizer in the game is part of the game,
Right.
and it's there for it serves a very critical role in the game.
I think a good topic, because this is probably tangential to the point, I would find this fascinating, but what influence has story games had, like modern story gaming, after, 2008 Apocalypse World, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, what sort of influence to trad tables
Right.
has that? I look at something like 5e, and there's stuff in there that talks about failing forward and stuff like
Right.
that.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
think
And
a
that
topic
has
by it-
absolutely changed.
Yep.
But one thing that's funny to me is, I recognize I fell into an amazing group of people to play with when I was like 13. When I was 13, we were playing a Heroes Unlimited game where there was a villain that we had to run from.
Right.
And I had a character sacrifice himself
That's
in
awesome.
order to save everybody.
And at that age, that's rare.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
At that
And
age,
everybody
you're
was
trying to
like
kill
cheering.
everything you see and have sex with
Yeah.
barmaids.
Exactly. And so and then it got better from there.
Are there
Right.
girls
So-
there?
If there's girls there that want
them.
to do them. Yeah, so that idea
Yeah.
of failing, that
Yeah.
idea of sacrificing yourself as a point of the story, it is hard for me. I recognize, of course, that there are players like that, but it's like, come on, guys, live a little.
Right. It's only a
Absolutely.
game.
Yeah, it's only a
a
game.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
David
hell
in
yeah.
Montreal,
It was fantastic.
Canada.
Fantastic.
Canada.
Thank you for the email
Yeah.
there.
Oh, of course it's smart. It's from Canada.
Yeah.
Taking kids to con
Oh,
games from
do we
Eric
want
and
to do
Jersey.
the Who Played What?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Because I have a thing.
Okay.
So we played Vampire earlier this week.
Yes, we played the Dark Ages game. Yeah.
I am having a little bit of trouble with my pacing. my character pacing. That I think I am more used to, like when you go into a one-shot, you have a certain mindset. Mm-hmm. And when you're playing a campaign, you maybe have another mindset.
Especially in Vampire, you're going to have a much longer view.
But we're playing a shorter campaign.
Yeah, we're playing like a 6
and
session.
I'm finding, I found like 3 episodes or sessions in that like there are things I probably should have maybe in rear view been playing a lot more like I was playing like more on the side of the one shot.
A con game.
Yeah, what do you think?
I agree with you. I mean, one of the things my character has done is I ghouled the madam of the brothel.
Oh, well done.
Right.
Yeah.
Useful information there.
How the fuck did you do that?
Huh? Passing notes.
I've been trying to do it for 2 games. No, somebody else. Like,
That's very funny.
No, that would be funny.
We're both ghouling
No,
the same
but like
person.
I'm like I don't know.
That'd be awesome. And then if we also fed off of her, and we end up being blood bond to each other.
Oh my god, that would be awesome.
That would be fantastic.
That would have been
would
pretty
be great,
funny.
yeah.
That's amazing, though.
But yeah, and that's a long view thing.
Yes.
There's only been like one important person who's even come into that brothel.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
finally, just
and,
the last
and
game.
I just this
Yep.
last session
Yep.
gave her her 3rd point or
Yep.
her third
Yep.
sip.
Mm-hmm.
So
Man, yeah, because I'm struggling with that because then I struggled a little bit with passing notes because I was producing too. So it's like
Right.
So I started where I finally was like, I got to send notes between sessions and stuff like that. But I've been trying to ghoul a person for like 2 sessions and I haven't even got my first bite. So I'm like, throw that shit out. Like,
Oh, yeah,
it's
there's
time
one-
to throw a hand grenade in
Right.
the room.
Right.
Where, yeah, exactly. But
it is. It's a little.
tricky.
It's kind of weird playing a short form campaign.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
It's not meant for that.
No.
No.
yeah, and you would have to get a little. It's not unvampire-y, but you'd have to show your hand a little bit more, and you would have to play aggro. Like
Yeah.
you would have to play kind of
Right. You have
Full
to
on.
play more like a werewolf game.
yeah.
Right?
That's a
Because
good
werewolf
point.
is more like heavy metal. Right?
Yeah.
As opposed to the more like goth
Yeah.
music
Yep.
vampire game.
Oh, see, I was thinking like a romantic era symphony.
Oh, yes, that's even better. Yeah, like something classical or romantic.
Right,
yes.
something with many movements in it.
Yeah.
It starts
Yeah.
out.
Oh yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
Rose.
The hunger versus I don't know.
And then
28
dun
days
dun
or-
dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun 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 dun
Yeah.
at the end where you
Right.
pull the.
But I was just
Stake
curious
out.
if you were finding that same thing, and it seems
It
like
is.
you. Okay.
There's definitely an urgency to it
Mm-hmm.
that I now this is the first campaign I've played.
Yeah,
I played a
of
one
course,
shot.
yep.
But I ran that one game for
Yep.
30 some sessions or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, and definitely pacing in that was much slower.
Slow burn.
Actually, there's been
Yeah.
a lot of feedback about our actual plays about how nothing would happen for many sessions in the Mode of Sin game.
Okay.
Because it's like, okay, there's 3 or 4 things that are happening, and all the characters are like,
Well, I mean, Vampire in itself is very much kind of a parlor game.
yes,
Yeah.
Where it's like
Yeah.
everybody has their own like motivations and doing their own thing, and it's hard to turn that into a D&D style storyline.
oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah.
So when people are doing machinations, it's almost like you need to like whatever like they're typing to each other or
Yeah.
like notes they're passing, you need to like put that up on the screen somehow.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people are like, oh,
See, I would love if there was
this
something.
is why.
I would love if there was something like Slack,
Yeah.
where there was a public-facing feed that people
You
could
know-
see,
Oh,
but the
that'd be
players
good.
can't see it.
Oh, that'd be really
Well,
good.
I'm curious because you've probably played a fair amount of vampires. Because I've talked about this with Kurt, and both of us. I'm sorry. I'm being
Of
judgy.
course I have.
Of course I have.
Have you met me?
Yeah.
Of course I play lots of vampire.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Because Kurt and I were talking, and and he's the same way. I'm not used to the note passing. Like I'm used to trusting that people aren't going to meta at the table, and just talking. Because I do think the momentum is tricky when you're expecting a GM to be running like engaging the table, especially if you're doing an actual play. And they're also watching notes and trained to
Right.
respond to those and that sort of thing.
I find that surprise, honest surprise, is always better. And like that's one of the things like we try not to talk about our topics beforehand, so it's more I mean, you don't want to go through a dry run and then go through the same bullshit because it's boring.
Yep.
And so like that's one of the reasons I really like to run games on Google Hangouts because I can have chat windows up with everybody and be messaging with everybody while the action is going on.
Got
and
it.
so I can do things where people end up getting surprised. Or I can have people be able to do their machinations or be like, oh, well, I want to do something on the side while stuff's going on.
Okay.
Because for my games, I have a guy who is in Atlanta who needs to be in bed by a certain time. And then I have somebody else here in California who works for the video game industry and cannot game until 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So I got 2.5 hours that I have to run a session once a week. And so it's really important to like get all that stuff in.
Yeah.
But I think it after you get used to it, I think it works really well.
No, that would be cool.
But like note passing with actual notes, even that can be a problem because like if you're like, here GM,
Yes.
here's this, and people are like, okay,
That's-
what are they
yeah.
doing?
Oh, they're passing
And you,
notes.
even if you're trying not to
Yeah.
metagame, it's still in the back of your head.
Right.
And that does change how you like react to people.
We had this conversation
We did.
during the Blood, Blade, and Tusk
Yep.
game, the
Yep.
Moment of Truth game that I ran.
That's true.
The Spanish Inquisition with orcs.
Right.
So awesome.
That's
And-
a great world.
And Gina was playing a character who was part of a secret order within the church, that a very conservative order within the church, and she's part of a party that has 2 orcs in it.
Yeah.
Ruh-roh.
Orcs are
Orcs are demons.
are demons walking the earth.
Yeah. They're abominations.
But she's keeping the whole
Yeah.
the whole thing quiet, and at one point she's going to go do something very secret society like, and so I asked the other players to leave. Normally, she and I would leave and go have a sidebar, but face mics, so everyone
Right.
else left, and Jason, who plays a lot of hippie games, is like, well, I won't metagame, right? But I'm like, but part of my brain is like, no, but I want you to be surprised when it happens. And he's like, well, this is what I figure out what I figure it is, and he almost exactly nailed what it was anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like it's not obviously not going to be a big surprise, but there is that sort of Schrodinger's metagaming thing.
Right. There
It's
really
like,
is.
if I didn't know
Yeah.
this information for certain, would I be making the decisions I'm making right now? And I think, at least to me, I don't like when I'm in that position as a player. I'd much rather live in ignorance and have my character play my character the way they do.
Right.
So that I know very honestly, I definitely didn't metagame, even subconsciously. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
You also miss up on just there are so many little things you can get. Like in my Traveler game, when Bill was getting into murders, he was doing them on behalf of another character who's like this
That hurts,
mechanic,
Bill.
who's like really, really nice and doesn't know anything about these things. And so Bill's character was just like killing people in secret. Like these people who were going to hurt her or do something bad to her, just like kill them in secret. And then Shing's character, the mechanic, was like in this situation where they had to interrogate somebody. Had no idea that Bill's character is
The monster that's part of the
monster
party.
who has been silently killing people.
Oh my
and it's
God,
like,
that's
well,
awesome.
She's got like a shotgun. He's like, well, tell us. He's like, I don't know anything. She's like, okay, well, I shoot his foot. Well, blows his foot off, and the guy like collapses and bleeds to death and dies. And now she's horrified that the guy has died.
Right.
Whereas if she had known that Bill's character was this monster, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to leave, and you people do what you do, and then I'll come back. But and that wouldn't be bad gaming.
No.
Not at all.
No.
But the fact that her character and herself were completely
Had
oblivious
no idea.
to all of this stuff going
Such
on.
a fantastic experience.
Oh, it's so good.
Yes. I agree.
It's kind of true. I've never done that before, though, as we discussed.
Right.
At the time, I'm like, it just kind of happened, and I fell into it, and I didn't really.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, 80 or 90% of the time, you're going to piece together what's going on.
Yep.
Right.
But
turns
that
out
one
people
time-
game are smart.
Right.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
one time in 20 when you're completely blindsided, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's absolutely awesome.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, boogers. Okay.
Wait,
What?
I got a text to say boogers on the air.
Okay.
You did.
And I just did.
We also got all caps to bring back Blood, Blade, and Tusk. And
It's a great world.
yeah,
Thank you.
and,
That's awesome.
I
told
think
them
that's
it's
on the docket. That's on the docket. There's another thing
For
on the
Post
docket
Fair.
that I came up with. I'll kind of spoil a little bit of it. It's going to be in GURPS. The game starts with modern day characters who end up in this frozen tundra where there's nothing but these sort of tribes of people and sort of like semi-mystical healers and things like that. And during the course of the first or second session, they're going to make their way up into the Forbidden Mountains, up in the tundras and these big tall peaks, and they're going to find that there is basically the headquarters of a time travel organization, and they've basically been vetted, kidnapped, and recruited.
Whoa.
You're going to bring back the history that we know. Because we're living in the nuclear winter, and we have to make it not happen.
That's going to be cool.
Did you ever watch a show called Timeless?
Yeah,
man.
that's where I got the idea.
You know me,
That's where I
fucked.
got the
I
idea.
haven't finished yet, so I have to. Yeah.
Season
'cause-
1 is awesome.
No, it was. As far as I got, it was amazing.
Now, if you did like 12 Monkeys, that'd be fucked.
Oh my god.
Because you couldn't actually
Wow.
change it.
No.
But, you know, that brings up an interesting thing. I'm having trouble, now that I'm back in society, where I can watch TV.
Right.
You know, because I have an internet connection higher than 500 kilobytes per second.
Excellent.
I'm watching television, and it's like, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed because this isn't a game I'm playing, and they're doing stupid shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, I did 3 episodes of Altered Carbon, and I'm like, I can't watch this. Because I'd rather play Eclipse Phase.
Right.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
that's so like this. And
Right.
I'd rather do the story and be a part of this and make a story that is...
Now you're a big Shadowrun fan. What was your opinion of Bright? Have you watched Bright on
I
Netflix?
have not.
Oh, okay.
I have not watched Bright.
Bright is the Will Smith vehicle that is
Yeah, I
basically
know.
kind of Shadowrun without the cyberpunk part.
Right. It's
I saw
modern
that
day.
Modern day elves and dwarves.
Yeah.
Shadowrun,
what
yeah.
would
That's
you-
the one by Max Landis.
It's
Yeah, it is,
I would
isn't it?
I would call it it's an urban fantasy game.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have I started watching Altered Carbon. It did not hook me,
No, it didn't hook me at all.
and I think one of the reasons is I've watched Blade Runner and I've watched the sequel to Blade Runner. I enjoyed them. I didn't think they were fantastic. It's not something that's like, oh, I'm going to have to watch that again. It was amazing, and I kind of got the same vibe out of Altered Carbon.
I did not like the cop. I thought
in
Altered Carbon, I thought she was boring as hell.
right.
And this very I don't know, like they're trying to push her to be this hard-boiled cop in ways that are just kind of lame. Mm-hmm. And there's this thing that happened in the 3rd episode. I don't want to do any spoilers, but I'm going to do some spoilers, where there's like the shooting of a thing inside the party of this really wealthy person who like fucking controls the world.
Right.
It's like, this is lame. If I was running this game and somebody do that, bad things would happen to them.
Oh, yeah.
Really bad. No. I want to run this game and change what's going on, because fuck you guys.
Right.
But yeah, Eclipse Phase is they have these sleeves and cortical stacks, and
Oh, yeah.
and they can ego cast from planet to planet, and you can play this game that they're doing. I mean, it's I would just much rather play the game than watch this fucking
I have
TV
a copy
show.
of Eclipse Phase somewhere. I don't know where it is. I bought it.
It's a good. They're starting the beta test of the 2nd edition. You can get it on Drive-Thru
Yeah.
RPG.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay. Right.
I backed that on Kickstarter.
Oh, did you?
But there's also, I would be way into, it was just the chat room was saying, no one's playing Eclipse Phase, but there's also Eclipse Fate that's going to be a thing, and I think that'd be awesome.
Eclipse. It's a really fun world
Oh,
I think
it's
it's
a
really
fantastic
great.
world.
They
Yeah.
have these different factions, and one of them is basically like these giant ships in which there's Burning Man, which is my favorite faction, obviously.
Right.
They're saying that both of you are wrong, though, because they're in Altered
You're right.
Carbon.
I did
There is
like it.
Poe. There's Poe, they said. How can you not
Oh,
like,
Poe is awesome.
love
That's
a
true.
short lady
okay,
cop?
okay. Poe is great.
I don't think I watched enough.
The
to know
lady
who that
cop.
is.
The only time that I believed her, like that, I didn't feel like she was acting, is when she was speaking in Spanish to her mother, and then she was amazing. She was great when she was speaking in Spanish. When she's speaking in English, I don't really believe her. But
All
that's
right.
just me.
Taking kids to con games from Erica, New Jersey.
I have nothing to say about this.
All right. I do,
you guys
because
go ahead.
I've had good and
Do
bad
you want to read? Do
experiences.
you want me to read? Do
Go.
you want to read? I'll
It
read.
doesn't matter. Whatever.
Here we go. Hello, you magnificent people. It is I, Eric from New Jersey, writing in because of something very specific. Stu said, I simply want to do a shout out for a gaming convention and ask a question. Mepacon, which I meant to look up. Mepacon will be running in Scranton, PA from April 27th to April 29th. They have RPGs, miniature games, card games, and board games.
Excellent.
This will be my first gaming con in about 20 or so years. My few weekends off have been dedicated to LARP, plus the fall convention conflicts with my son's football schedule. I'm not going to run anything because I'm bringing my sons, ages 12 and 7, to their first con.
Mm-hmm.
Stu, I know you've taken your kids. Do you have any advice for taking kids to a con? I am mostly concerned because my kids are of two minds. They both love football, the watching and the playing. My youngest is counting down the months to when he will play tackle football instead of flag football for the first time. Now I have gotten them playing the basic version of the X-Wing miniatures game and also some Savage Worlds. We do Star Wars in it. But I just want to show them a wider world out there. I can secretly hope that they will see this convention and say, yes, these are my people. In that regard, I don't want to do anything that will screw up their time there. I'm not going to force them into anything. I'm not going to force them to have fun. I will just understand and cry myself to sleep at night if they just say they prefer football. I just want to not get in their way, but still be able to guide them, if that makes sense. How do you do it with your kids? Anyway, thanks.
Poorly.
I remember you saying a lesson you learned. Anyway, thanks for the great podcast. Drink up, and I promise either here or on the forums. Depends if there is a gaming story. I will give an after-action report. Cheers, Eric from New Jersey.
Okay, definitely with the younger kids, I've taken my kids to about 3. I took Zachary, I think, to 4 cons and Allie to 3, or Zachary to 3 and Allie to 2. I don't remember. Allie hit a threshold age, which it turns out was 12, where me scheduling their day at the con suddenly became an issue. Before, if I said, in the earlier cons, when I would say, okay, we're going to a game, you two are 2 of my players in the game, I'm running a game for kids. We ran Hero Kids, which is a very simple sort of D&D kind of clone, but it's made for little kids. Mm-hmm. Really fun. All the characters, the character sheets and everything, like the pictures on them are just outlined so they can sit and color them, and I brought colored pencils and stuff so they could color them and shit. And it was a lot of fun. And little kids playing role-playing games have such big hearts. It's like, let's not kill him. He's the only one here. Let's talk to him and see if we can convince him to not fight. I mean, they do that kind of stuff all the time, right?
That's amazing.
Then my daughter turned 12. And that
then
changed.
you killed them.
No. Well, she just didn't want to be there. I ran a game, and there was 4 of them. There were 4 kids. And my 2 kids were the worst behaved kids at the table. I would strongly suggest that when you're, especially for the older ones, don't GM for them. They will not treat you the way they will treat a stranger GM.
That's
because
true.
Yes, because and Heather can attest to this as well. Our children act far more behaved when they're in the presence of strange adults than they do when they're in the presence of just she or I. Mm-hmm. So if you want to sign them up for games so that they can go and have an experience with another GM, maybe even if you come in as a player when it's more on a peer level, that might work a little better. But you GMing and them playing, wave off.
Well, and I think the other thing I remember you saying,
especially when they're older,
because he said he's not running, right?
Yeah.
But You said, I can't remember if this was even in the social meteors or in person, but that you will never force your kids to play a thing ever again.
Because
was that Allie?
That was
Yeah.
It was both of them.
Okay.
Allie was way worse. Zachary took his lead from Allie because Zachary's younger.
Okay.
But yeah, I will never do that again. Here's things that my son enjoys. We go to the wargaming room. He loves to look at the Warhammer stuff because we have some of the starter sets for Warhammer, and we started down that rabbit hole a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So there's guys there.
New Warhammer's really good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 8th edition is fantastic. There are guys there who make the big things that come... What's the other company? Forged World.
Yeah.
Who make like the big... The big stuff.
The
Titans,
yeah.
So they have like rows and rows, and like this guy's got a bunch of chaos stuff, and this guy's got, I don't know, some chapter of the Space Marines, and all this stuff is laid out, and they're not really playing with them, but they're just displaying them. Zachary loves going through that section and just checking out all that shit, because they always have a bunch of little tiny Space Marines and this big motherfucking thing about that big. And so he loves looking at that stuff. And so we always go through the wargaming section, look at the cool terrain people have made. He loves looking at that stuff. That's fun. The other thing we have at our conventions, we have a computer gaming room where they've got a bunch of computers that are linked together, and you can play games head to head, which is not something he gets to do a lot because I don't let him play online with strangers because
they're terrible.
Right. They're horrible people. Strangers are horrible people. Yes.
Horrific. Yeah.
But if you're in a room and there's 5 or 6 kids, all are kind of around the same age, and they're playing a game, they're smack talking each other. That smack talk only gets up to a certain level.
They don't know how to be that bad.
Exactly.
Which is funny because when I was that age, I thought it was really bad.
Oh yeah, right. My daughter has told me. She said, "Daddy, you have no idea how much I cuss at school."
She told you that.
I kind of have. I have an inkling. Did you say?
Allie, you have no idea how much I cuss when you're not around.
And she's like, Dad, yes, I do.
Yes,
Dad.
I've seen your YouTube videos.
You know what? Somebody in the chat room mentioned Blood Bowl.
Oh, I love Blood Bowl.
Right? So, and don't they do that at con?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. They came out with a new version like a year and a half ago or so.
And actually, on Steam, they have the new Blood Bowl 2 Legendary Edition, I think,
cool.
is up to speed
Oh,
with
really?
the new edition.
Right.
But Blood Bowl's great.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it takes a little while, but yeah, I mean, the amount of money you need to put together a team, you need like 14 pieces.
Right.
I mean, that's nothing compared to the
Warhammer.
8,000 you need for Warhammer.
Yeah.
All hail Lord Nuffle.
Yes.
I would also...
also, kids these days don't know the joke of Cabal Vision. Cable Vision.
Oh.
It's broadcast on Cabal Vision.
Right.
Because what fucking kid knows Cable Vision these days?
Right.
No. Yeah, I didn't even know what you meant. I was like, wait, what's cable ball vision?
I do think it would be a good idea to contact some of the organizers of the convention and find out if there are events that are geared towards kids, if there are games that people are hosting or people that are going to be running.
Yep.
Because one of our circle of friends from Fair always runs this. There's a racing game he always runs at our local cons here. That is a real simple game.
Circus Maximus?
I think that sounds right.
Oh yeah, Circus Maximus is a blast.
I don't know
because you just want everybody to flip and die and fuck up.
I don't know if that was.
Awesome.
I'm
or is it Car Wars?
It's not Car Wars.
Oh, okay.
But it's some racing game, and he always has kids play.
No, it's probably not Circus Maximus.
The mechanics are fairly simple. So there's a bunch of kids playing, and he holds like 2 or 3 tournaments during the course of the convention, and it's always packed because the kids love playing this game. But you contact the convention and see if there are some like kid favorite stuff that you can have them touch on.
Yeah, if they put up the schedule in advance, you can kind of check it out and go through descriptions of stuff with them, and you probably don't want to sign them up for something that's too complicated.
Right.
But definitely reading descriptions and stuff that's Savage Worlds or things that you think are approachable.
And also, I don't think it's a bad idea if you, with your kids, go sign up for a role-playing game.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all
just
sit
do
down
together.
as players.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've had that's happened. I've had that happen numerous times in games where some guy comes in with his
Absolutely.
son who's a teenager. I ran a GURPS Traveler game, and the two of them sat down, and Dad's saying, Dad knows GURPS. Kid doesn't know GURPS as well. He says, you're going to roll this and that and that. So he's sort of like giving him a little mechanical advice, and they're going off and they're having a blast. Yeah. And most of the time, it's been my experience, you don't end up having parent controlling kid because the parent wants the kid to have fun and enjoy the hobby. So they're going to kind of give them their free reign to do what they're doing.
2 out of every 3 Star Wars games I play at a con will have a parent and a kid.
That's
and
awesome.
A parent and a kid. Yeah, because hello, Star Wars.
Right.
So, that's great.
Hello, Star Wars. You have Hello Kitty Star Wars.
Aww.
That'd be amazing.
Oh, the stormtroopers with whiskers.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That'd be amazing.
All right.
That'd be really amazing.
I think that's really all the advice
I
I have.
run that for kids. Hello Kitty Star Wars. Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm. What's it? Something. I want to say Amstrad Riccio, but that's not the Hello Kitty thing. Amstrad Riccio is the death cult that released Saren in the subway.
What is Sanrio?
That's. I keep thinking.
Okay.
Amstrad Riccio is stuck in my head because I was writing some stuff about.
Oh my God! If there's a Sanrio death cult, that'd be amazing. Holy fuck!
Sanrio.
Sanrio.
Hazelnut on the forums just introduced me to Fat Chocobo. So I'm like obsessed with
What's Fat Chocobo?
From
the Chocobos.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
14.
murder chickens.
Oh my God, the Fat Chocobo. Like I want one in real
life.
I wish they were real.
So yeah, terror birds. They're like these giant fucking. They're the size of ostriches, but they're like chicken-looking things with huge beaks.
Yeah, but
is this in the game or something?
It's in Final Fantasy
14.
Oh, in Final. Okay, I've never.
Yeah. But the Fat Chocobos are huge and they're cute, and you put a piece of cake in front of them, and they fly.
That's amazing.
I know.
Sanrio Death Cult is playing the Troubadour this weekend. Thank you, Diabol.
Oh, God.
All right, last email, Pathfinder Horror Story, because I have compliance training tomorrow for fair.
What?
Both Heather and I have to do
Compliance?
compliance training.
What the fuck?
What's a compliance training?
Wait, I thought it was less. What?
Sexual harassment training.
Oh, that's what I thought. I was thinking that's what you really meant.
I think it's either required by the city or the county or
Did
something.
you know that there was a paper written on
covering
how
their butts.
the band, the Boxy Boggarts, were like one of the great feminist bands of the 21st century? Did you know that?
Who wrote that?
Yeah.
Tiffany.
That's awesome.
I want a copy of it. I want a copy
I'll
of
ask
it
her.
bad.
Because it's like how we always fail.
Right. Oh,
like
yeah.
anything that is misogynistic at all is shown to be bad and terrible.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's always been the point of our show.
Yeah.
We're a bunch of dumb louts who lose all the time.
Yeah. We're a bunch of idiots. Don't be like us.
Right. You don't want to be like us, but you want to sound like us.
Okay, we sound great.
It's true.
All right. Pathfinder Horror Story from Mike in Maximum Irritation.
Your turn.
Oh, crap.
I know,
Right.
my dear.
Mike from MI here.
From me.
We're the
Here
nuts
writing with
who
a
say
not
meh.
really horror story. Sorry for the misleading subject line.
Damn it.
But to me, horror stories are at least exciting. And this tale of why I stopped gaming with this set of friends is anything but.
Wah, wah.
All right. Well, we already know it's not exciting.
Set your expectations high.
Yes.
Setting the stage in backstory. Husband and wife pair, let's call them Alice and Bob, who are both into gaming independently and credit me with introducing them to each other. I have no memory of this, but I have memory issues. You and me both.
Do those memory issues follow the consumption of a large amount of alcohol?
Yeah.
Maybe. Blacking out.
Right.
That was you, I guess.
I was previously in one of Alice's Pathfinder games, where it was hinted there'd be a grand story. But the first 3 sessions were spent walking through a swamp, having random encounters every 15 feet. I'd quit that game out of boredom. Not playing any RPGs for a while, though I got the itch. I got a cream for that. A little voice in my head reminded me, no game is better than a bad game, but I was so eager to roll dice, I ignored it.
You were wrong.
Bob had been running a Pathfinder game I had an open invite to. This time he set expectations for the game. It was purely a random dungeon crawl. There was no story.
Engaging.
Oh, so they're playing the board game.
Right.
Right. I actually have a friend who runs a board game day of D&D. It's like, we are playing the board game, you'll get things.
Typical dungeon crawl, door, hallway, door.
We're gonna drink beer and hang out with each other, and this is not anything.
Can be a fantastic time.
Yeah, that can be a great time.
Yeah. You can also play Nuke War. I love playing Nuke War.
You could also play Risk.
Beer and pretzel games.
He used a random dungeon generator that revealed rooms and encounters on the fly.
This sounds like Uncle Melvin's Impossible GURPS adventure that we ran at the con. We had a D100 table with different rooms, and when you touched the doorknob, you could hear all these whirring gears as rooms were connected to each other.
Oh my god, it's like the Cube.
Yes.
But makes more sense.
Yes.
Okay, so the Cube. I'm gonna rant for just a little bit here because we'll get through this eventually.
Yeah.
So the Cube. One thing that pisses me off about that movie is that they have this guy who's like the super math genius, and he figures out that factors are or that prime numbers are a thing. Like, I forget if it's like I think it's that if the numbers are prime, then there's no traps.
Right. Something like that.
And so then it's like numbers are prime. They go in. There's a trap. Oh, it's not prime numbers, it's factors of prime numbers. In fact, prime numbers are defined by having no factors other than itself and one.
Right.
Fuck you forever.
Someone only read part of their math book when they wrote that
I
script.
know, and it's entirely, it's like math was the thing. It's like, you motherfuckers. Now somebody's going to tell me I remember that wrong, and that's okay.
That's fine.
That is A-okay.
You were wrong, Tappy. You enjoyed that movie.
I am used to losing on stage. He used a random dungeon. Oh wait, on the fly. I didn't hear back what their rules for character generation were, so I brought a complicated caster cleric with full rules text for each prepared spell, copied from SRD and printed out, and a quote, I swing a sword, end quote, simple fighter.
Right.
Only one other player showed up, and I hadn't played in a long time, so they let me play both characters while Alice and, let's call him Charlie, since it doesn't matter. So we have A, B, and C.
I'm so against anyone playing more than one character.
Yeah.
Unless you got a weird situation where you're like in two different times. But normally...
I don't know, because the GM can play a lot of characters at once.
That's true, but that's the GM.
Yeah.
The GM is trying to get the players immersed into the characters in the world. The GM is never immersed in the characters in the world. At least, as a GM, that's my goal, is to immerse players in this.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and that's a
hard
great
to do
goal.
That if they have more than one character.
It is difficult to do. I have had players play more than one character and be fine.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like this situation.
No.
But this player may be able to do so. I don't know.
Maybe. I have the same thing as you, because when people start having companions or other things, and all of a sudden they're taking the 2 times, 3 times the time.
Especially
It
like
just
D&D
gets-
and combat.
Yeah.
right.
Gets ridiculous.
Well, like in APOC world, you can do a thing when you advance to just make a new character and play both. But APOC world is also, when combat happens, it's over like that.
Right.
It's lightning fast.
Right.
It is also much more meta than a lot of other games where you're just playing your character or whatever.
Right.
Like, it can get very meta.
Okay.
And it sounds like this person really is a seasoned role player.
It does.
Mike,
yes.
It does.
from me.
Yeah.
But also, this is just a random dungeon crawl too.
Yes.
So
True.
That's true.
You're really just moving like 2 like pawns around.
Exactly. You're right.
So let's call him Charlie. It doesn't.
Alice and... Yeah.
Yeah.
Alice and Charlie's characters.
It doesn't matter. Each one played for a total party size of 4. So there's 2, that Mike is playing, Alice is playing 1, and Charlie is playing 1.
Got it.
Alice and Charlie's character, who might have had names, but they were never used. Great role-playing. Guided my characters to the dungeon entrance and down several levels. This was designed a little old school, with each level of the dungeon getting progressively harder, roughly coinciding with player character levels.
I remember those days. Okay.
Yeah. We open the next unexplored door and ghost, or some other form of ethereal undead. I forget! A bunch of them let forth a volley of fear-inducing moans. Is that like, we're on a Ritz!
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits?
Oh, so good.
God.
That's comedy.
We crack us up.
Of course, Leachman is amazing in that.
Okay.
I almost shit myself laughing at this.
All right. Fear-inducing moans. Alice makes their saving throws. Charlie makes their saving throws. Both of my characters fail a number of saving throws. And are compelled to run away as fast as possible.
As far as yep.
For 2d4 rounds,
Yep.
which rolled the max of 8.
Yep.
Well done.
Way to roll!
I know that.
Critical
story.
success.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does that mean I can continue running
Wait.
all the way out the door?
Did
Yeah.
Stork move to Michigan?
No.
All right. Bob is a very distractible person, and there's nothing wrong with that. At all.
No.
And Table is given to banter often. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
No.
Fuckers.
And did I mention Alice and Bob had 2 young children? Okay, well, there you go.
That's where you're right.
That's where you're right.
Yeah.
Little ditty about Alice and Bob. Sorry.
In the back seat of Bob's car. And they had 2 afterwards. And it was all fine, except their lives were over. As they knew it. The end.
Oh, life doesn't go on. Long after the thrill of kids.
Children is gone.
You know why it's funny? Because it's true.
Oh, you know what? I hope my children don't watch this episode. It's going to ruin their self-esteem.
Oh, man.
Ouch,
Oh, man,
that hurt.
mine's 18. Not good. That doesn't stop at 18.
No longer your
No,
responsibility.
I don't
buddy.
think it ever
That
stops.
still is.
Yeah.
One was past the baby stage, could crawl and lift themselves up, and through magic, grab all the things you really didn't want them to put in their mouth and put them in their mouth.
Right. That's called couch surfing.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
a different kind of couch surfing. There's the couch
Yeah.
surfing that people who don't have jobs do.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
there's
yeah,
the
yeah.
couch surfing that toddlers do.
Oh, because they do the...
Yes. Yeah. They.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope this guy doesn't have guns in his house. That's all I can think of.
No.
It's like something you really don't want them to put in their mouths. I know what I don't want them putting in their mouths.
Oh. X card.
Lock that shit up.
Yeah.
All right. The other was older and seemed to have skipped the walking stage and went straight to marathon sprinting,
Awesome.
but hadn't gotten the hang of stopping yet. So between us quoting 1/3 of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, like you do, I don't know what you're talking about. It's Kid 1 chewing at something they teleported in from an alternate dimension. Bob showing off funny YouTube videos.
Wait, Bob is the GM, right?
Ruh-roh.
Isn't
Yeah,
it? Bob's
he
GM?
is.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't play that game while you're playing the game.
I'm not sensing a lot of progress in this game.
Yeah, no.
9 naked men just walking down the road.
Or like Nigel Tufnell doing talking about Stonehenge.
Right.
Stonehenge.
Have you seen those? They're commercials
What?
that were done for National Geographic for Stonehenge.
I don't think I've seen
No.
And Christopher Guest was on, and they did like I think 5 of them, where they're interviewing Nigel Tufnell about Stonehenge.
God.
Oh my god, it's awesome! You haven't seen that?
I don't think I have.
No.
Oh, it's so good.
I'll have to look them
The
up.
Little Children of Stonehenge.
Oh no, it's made
Except
by one
that's-
man. One man built Stonehenge. Duncan.
For the-
Duncan was his name.
I have seen that.
Yes.
I have seen that.
It's so
he
good.
remembered
Either
to
that
write
or he's
larger
done the
than
same
18
bit.
inches
It
on
could
the
be.
napkin.
Could be.
I have to
man.
look this up. They're probably on the.
Do you know how much
the
my brain
tubes.
broke when I realized that Christopher Guest was also the Six-Fingered Man?
Yeah.
I had no idea
Oh,
that
yeah.
Nigel Tufnell was a Six-Fingered Man.
Yep.
He's amazing.
He's also the
He's-
banjo player from the the Folksmen.
And he's a lord.
Oh,
And he's married to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, it's so good.
I just rewatched that.
So when I saw that in the theaters, I got stopped by a bunch of like older people, and they stopped us like, "Excuse me, what was so funny about that movie?" Because we had more fun watching you watch the movie than actually watching the movie.
Yeah, Heather and I went and saw it in the theaters.
Right.
And we were 2 of 9 people in the theater.
Exactly.
And the only 2 laughing.
Yeah. That is exactly my experience.
Watching what?
A Mighty Wind.
Wind, yeah.
Oh,
Because if you're
fun.
not
It's
in a folk,
amazing.
if you're not in a
Yeah.
folk band, I don't think it's very funny.
No.
Oh, see, I
it's
thought
like
it was
watching
funny.
Waiting for Guffman and having never done community theater.
Right.
Same thing.
Oh, I think they're hilarious, and I haven't
Yeah.
done those or showed dogs
Best
in
in Show.
shows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Best in,
Oh,
and they're
best-
amazing.
and Fred Willard in Best
my
in
God,
Show.
Fred Willard.
God damn it, he was
Oh.
funny.
Fred Willard in
See,
Pitch
how can you
Perfect.
run a game like that?
I have no
Can you
idea.
do that? Is it
Fiasco?
possible?
Fiasco.
Well, and also remember,
Fiasco. No, fiasco.
Yeah.
no scripts.
Yeah, I know. That's like a game. That's
Fiasco. No script.
yeah. If you could do like you guys are in a band. We're running this in Fiasco. Go. You're in a band that was once popular and now
There is
you're
a
not.
total. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It would.
That'd be really fun.
We need to write a fiasco-like game called Christopher Guest Movie.
Oh.
And then get Christopher Guest to run it.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I think he would.
Yeah, he would.
I think he totally would. Okay, nobody do that who's listening to this.
Fuckers.
Okay, where the fuck was I? Bob showing off funny YouTube videos.
My naked man.
Yeah. Well, he's jamming.
Yeah. Kid 2, full speed body slamming into another piece of furniture or section of the wall. And Charlie taking all day
Yeah. Good job.
to make super important tactical decisions. It was 4 hours before those 8 rounds of running away were up.
Holy shit.
And I finally had control of my characters again.
30 minutes per
That's
combat round.
Fucked.
No, for sure. Because if he had to run 8 turns away,
Were you playing Exalted? Like, how'd you do 30 minutes for a combat round?
I wonder if this is 4th edition D&D.
well, he said
Higher level. Easily could be.
Well, and didn't he say what's his toes?
And
is
people are fucking
taking
around,
forever.
that's why.
Yeah. Yes, and showing YouTube videos and stuff.
Right.
So even though he had to, both characters run away
Yeah, both
for
characters
8
run
rounds.
away. For 8 rounds.
The other ones were taking way too long and
Right.
showing YouTube videos.
Except that, because was 8 rounds of running away as
Yeah.
fast as possible, I now faced 8 more rounds of running back.
Well, that's only another 4 hours.
Yeah.
There's
no.
24 hours in a day. What are you complaining about?
3 more hours of time spent repeating the above.
Oh my
so they were
God.
faster.
Oh, they were, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, probably,
Bob took his Ritalin.
either that or Bob's cell phone battery died.
And my characters make it back just in time for the last Spectre to be dispatched by Charlie.
Yay!
Yay! Well, that was a fun session. 7 hours, and all the dice rolling I got to do was fail a saving throw at the beginning. And the judge wasn't going to look at the 27 8x10 color gloss. I wasn't able to use any of the dozen sheets of paper I had printed off for my cleric. I didn't come back.
I'm shocked.
Mike from Michigan. Mike from MI. Asterisk. MI obviously standing for maximum irritation.
Clearly, sir.
We're also opening the Troubadour. Obligatory PS drink.
I thought this wasn't a horror story. It was totally a horror story.
It's a
go
story
on
where he's
until you
horribly...
drink
Okay.
There are rules.
Okay. Wow.
Tappy just imposed them from now on.
yeah.
Everyone
Yeah?
has even if it's water.
No, I did. I got Stabia's. It's exalted.
It is exalted. Oh, it takes 30 minutes to drink one.
Yeah. It does for me.
They're good.
Yeah.
That's a good IPA.
Yeah.
I love Stone IPAs.
I don't.
I know.
Because I dislike IPAs and Stone IPAs. They're not Sierra Nevada IPAs. Because Sierra Nevada IPAs punch you in the face and then steal your lunch money.
I think
and then
Stone
go
are-
buy more hops and shove them in your face.
I think
That's what Stone
I think
does.
Stone is actually.
Yeah,
I think
hoppier.
Stone is hoppier.
I think
the
so, too.
The difference is they also make a sweeter beer.
Oh.
So whereas Sierra Nevada is a drier
Dry
beer
beer.
that's hoppy, they're more balanced. I think Stone is.
It depends on the beer, but yeah, this is what Citra and something else.
And there's a lot of unfermented sugars left in this beer. I can taste
Right.
it. So it's kind of balancing the sweetness and the bitterness kind of balance each other out a little.
The
But
last
it's more. I'm sure there's more hops in this than there is in the Sierra Nevada.
The last time I did an attempt on Mount Whitney, I didn't make it. The first two I did, but those first two I couldn't drink. So on the third one, I didn't make it up to the top, and I got back and we decided to get some beer. But all they have at the chalet, like at the bottom of Mount Whitney, is Sierra Nevada. Because you're in because you're in the Sierra Nevadas,
right? Yeah.
And I was so angry.
What are you, communist? What else are you going to drink?
I was so angry because, like, how much hops do you want? A lot?
A shit ton?
Or here's the double IPA. Like, fucking shit.
You always get a Bigfoot. Bigfoot is not as hoppy, but it's like 12% alcohol.
That's what I would have wanted.
Isn't it it's something else? It's a Scotch ale, or is it a?
I think they call it a barley wine.
Okay, it tastes like Bigfoot socks. Got drained out in a beer bottle.
Oh, you mean barley wine?
Did I ever tell you the
No,
first?
barley wine's well, it depends on the barley wine.
Did I ever
but
tell you
yeah.
the first time I saw it in the store? This is years ago.
No.
This is when we were when Charlie and I were recording Lager Than Life or Live or Let Die.
Oh, this was a long time ago. Yeah,
But
this was like 2006.
Third
It
or
was
fourth.
in the aughts.
It may have been before the odds.
No, because I joined the band in 2000, and Lager and Liver had not been
And some people
Okay.
it was
recorded yet.
before their
We started in
first marriage.
2001 is when we started recording whatever was first.
Lager was
Lager.
first. We
was
started that at Blizzard.
That was 2001, yeah.
And then we moved it to VidFilm. But we were in early recording sessions. I think it was for Liver, and I stopped by the liquor store because I was living in La Mirada, so I stopped by the liquor store by my house, and I was going to get a 6-pack of beer to take, and then Charlie and I could drink it while we're doing it, and I was going to get Sierra Nevada because both of us like Sierra Nevada, and I saw this thing called Sierra Nevada Bigfoot Ale, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to grab that. I grabbed it, put it in my cooler, and off
Didn't
I
pay
went.
attention.
No, it's got Sierra Nevada on the label, and it's got a name I've never heard of. Fuck yeah, I'm going to buy it. We show up. We're sitting there. We get through. We finish the 6-pack. I have another 12-pack of Sam Adams or something. But he and I together polish off this 6-pack.
Ooh.
And then he gets up to go to the bathroom, and he stumbles back down in his chair as he's trying to get up.
Oh.
Because Bigfoot Ale was like 12.9%
So it's
alcohol.
like each beer is 3 beers.
So he basically had 9
Yeah.
beers.
Yeah.
In a period of about 40 minutes.
Holy shit.
And both of us were hammered. I mean, hammered.
That's banana sandwich.
Yes.
The next time I'm here, I will bring Black Tuesday.
What's that?
It's a bourbon barrel aged stout from the brewery, but it's close to 20% ABV.
That sounds
Ooh.
delicious.
Holy metric.
So
Yeah.
good. It is so good.
That'll be a fun
Yes.
fun podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's so smooth that you just sit
So
there.
so I'm going to look at the next time that you're
Okay.
on the podcast, and I'm going to make sure I'm on that one.
Okay,
Now
cool.
have you tried any of the Sam Adams boutique barley wines like Millennium or
No, and they're hard to
or
get,
Cobalt?
though.
I've had a couple of them.
Really?
Yes. Not the one in the bottle that looks like a brew keg.
Uh-huh.
You know, the one that's got
Yep.
it's a wide bottle that's got
Yeah.
a stem on the top of it. That one's really hard to find. That's
Yes.
called
I-
Utopias, I think.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Utopias?
Yeah.
I think he fought with Spartacus.
Right.
Back in.
If you can find it in a liquor store, it's about $200 a bottle. Mm-hmm. If you buy it on eBay instead, you're buying the bottle, but it's unopened and has the liquor in it, so they're not. They're technically, they say they're selling the bottle, not the liquor inside of it.
Right. I used to do that with absinthe.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But that you find them typically for somewhere between like $300 and $400 for a bottle. Of that stuff. I've never had that, but I had Cobalt.
That's really expensive.
Yes.
Crazy.
I've had Cobalt, which was the stuff that was in the blue bottle.
Uh-huh.
And it pours thick. It's a barley wine, but it's a barley wine that they've... I don't even know how it ferments with so little water in it. It's not like syrup.
Wow.
But it pours thick.
All right.
And it tastes more like... It has kind of a soy sauce taste to it.
Okay.
Really?
Yes. But
Like
it's
Cobalt.
sweet. It's still sweet.
Okay.
And it's very alcoholic. And you drink it. You take the whole bottle and just start it. It's horrible. You pour it in a glass. You let it kind of breathe, almost like wine, like a red wine. You let it breathe for a little while, and then you sort of sip it.
Do you drink it at like room temperature?
I drank it at room temperature, yes.
Okay.
But they're like uber barley wines, and they're if you like barley wines, you'll probably love them. Anyway,
I don't know if I
love
like barley
some-
wine that much.
Some barley wines.
But I will-
now these are Sam
I would
Adams.
try it. If
Yeah.
somebody said, here,
Yeah.
try this $200
Yeah.
bottle of barley wine, I would
Yeah.
absolutely try it.
They're Sam Adams, so the hoppiness is not super
Oh,
high.
right,
Yeah.
that's true.
But
Right.
but the maltiness is like, I am malt. You will submit.
That's why I like this thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like multi ales.
Right. All right. Go ahead and
Start from
finish the last
multi-guy.
paragraph there.
Oh,
no,
we
you
got
did.
another
Second
paragraph?
PS?
Yeah.
No, I didn't say the second PS.
Oh, go.
I apologize that I composed the majority of this email while very sleep deprived. So if there are any errors in there, feel free to give them a good home.
The only one I see is sleep deprived should be hyphenated. Other
Right.
than that, you're fine.
Excellent. Speaking of the whole band thing, have you ever seen a movie called Still Crazy with Bill Nye from not Science Guy, but the British
There's
dude.
a different Bill Nye?
Well, Nighy. I don't know.
Oh.
It's that dude.
Like nigh
amazing.
on Bill.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The beer
State
is
of
nigh.
Play.
Right.
I don't
Nigh
know, he's in all the
Invincible.
things
Yeah.
of the world. He's in a million things. He's amazing.
No, I haven't.
You should watch that.
I think
It's
he
funny.
should team up with
It's about
Bill
a
Nye
band.
Yes.
and do a buddy show called Bill Nye and Bill Nye.
Right.
They could.
Nye and
Bill and
Nye.
Bill.
Nye and
and
Nye.
Nye.
Or Nye.
Nye.
That would be awesome.
It would. All right.
Awesome.
I want to thank you, Mike in Maximum Irritation, for
Yeah.
one of the most excruciatingly boring gaming stories. Not that the gaming story was boring.
No.
But your depiction of how boring a gaming
Yeah.
session can be is phenomenal. 7 hours to... I run.
I did that once. That was horrible.
It's one of the reasons why I do not care for the board game of D&D. Like rolling out the mat. There's a lot of people who are really a big fan of like the miniatures and
Right.
doing that out. And boy, do I love tabletop games. Like
Yeah.
tabletop miniatures games, like 40K and all these things. Those are great.
Sure.
But it can be if you're running like a role-playing game where you have the board game superimposed on it, that the board game just kind of sucks.
Yes.
And so I don't really have an answer to that other than don't play the board game.
Right.
I find a lot of times, too, though, even theater of the mind can get too complicated, but just give me a piece of paper and make some X's and zeros on it.
Right,
and
yeah.
Something like
That's
that. Because
Right,
I agree
right.
with you that it can just get...
Give people a visualization so
excruciating.
everyone's on the
Yeah.
same page.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Heavy Metal Jess says, go home, podcast, you're drunk.
No.
We have been drinking.
Nobody's drunk.
All right.
I may have been drinking.
Yeah.
I may have...
How many
Yeah.
hours are we in yet?
Us don't know.
It's not even 2.
Yeah.
Oh, God
time.
damn it.
Hour and 40 minutes.
I've yet to manage to push this to past
No.
2 hours.
No. Well, I have compliance
Thought we
training
did the
tomorrow.
first time.
I have to get up early. I have to get up early and go comply.
I swear to Christ, we did the first time, didn't we? Like,
When I was on?
yeah.
Recently?
2 hours. 2
We've
and a half.
done-
There was
done
one
2
that was
hours
like
back in the day.
No.
It might have been 3. You might be right. It might
Yeah,
have
no,
been
there
3.
was. I thought it was the first one you were back on.
FYI, during fair,
It ain't
2 hour
gonna
is
happen.
the
Hey,
hard limit.
talk about fair for a second.
Oh,
'cause
the
we
Renaissance,
did-
the Renaissance Pleasure Fair, the 53rd annual Renaissance Pleasure Fair
Stay
starts
good.
April 6th and 7th, I think, whatever that
I
weekend
saw
is.
7th on there. In
7th and 8th, whatever. Who
Yeah.
knows? It's the second weekend of April.
7's a good number.
It
I
starts
have
on the
no
first
idea.
Saturday and the second Sunday of April.
7th
and
and
it
8th.
and it is at the Irwindale, the Santa Fe Dam Recreation Area. It's a lovely name for a venue. In beautiful, picturesque Irwindale,
Stop
California.
lying.
You know what's best about that venue is that it's an old rock quarry.
Yes, it
And
is.
if you dig into the ground like 2 or 3 centimeters,
You'll
you find
find-
rocks.
And sometimes boulders.
When you're trying to lay your whatever the pile thingies.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and you have to dig down how far?
No. Well,
Okay.
it depends.
No, on the things for the boggart stage, we had to go 6 feet.
Things change. Things have changed.
Oh, really?
We actually got to the point where our stuff that we built, no digging.
No, I mean for the big canopies above.
For the canopy, yeah.
we had to
that's
go 6 feet
that's
down.
deeper than shit.
Yeah.
However, that's changed. We now actually may have to dig unless we do something different. I'm not sure exactly what we're doing. I'm leaving that in the hands of the people who are doing that thing. I haven't even been out to fair yet.
How many Welshmen
Really?
do you have in the
High
band?
five.
2 more weekends of build, and I haven't been out once.
How many Welshmen do you have in the band? Who are you going to have dig?
Well, that's why we're trying to figure out how to get around digging. Because fuck digging. out
Welshman, Cornishman,
Right.
digging.
Yeah.
All right.
If there's any
Oh,
tin.
the mining.
If
Yeah.
there's any tin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if you want to come to the Ren's,
Yeah.
go to renfair.com, renfair.com. You can get information. We're the Southern California Renaissance Fair. If you want to come out, and if you do come out, please come by Rogues Reef and ask for me and Stork and Bruce and Casey, and you might come out, right? You
I
come out and
haven't
visit.
been to the fair since 2011.
You should come out to the fair.
You should totally
Come
come
out
out
to
to
the fair. You can come on stage and do a
Maybe.
show with us.
Yeah.
Maybe I
You'll
will.
You'll know half the songs.
Does that mean I'll know a third of the songs?
Which is right about as many as you knew before. I'm kidding.
No, that's a little more.
Right.
That means I have to like find a costume that fits, because I'm slightly larger than I was when I was 27.
Costume approval is done by show directors and guild masters.
That's awesome.
But you can't embarrass me.
All right.
Although, if you want to come out as Captain Cockpants again, that would be awesome.
Oh man, I
this-
gotta fit into my Captain Cockpants pants.
Okay, do tell.
He got made a pair of pants that were very snug.
So Engie made me a pair of pants, and so he took a pair of my
Aw.
pants and then like cut it up and then like used that as a pattern.
right.
But he didn't make any seam allowance. So when I put it on, you could see
Every contour.
every single contour. And so when I put them on, Engie fell over laughing. I was like,
You
"What's
act
the
like
matter?"
this
And he's
wasn't
like,
on purpose.
"I can tell what religion you are."
You dress left.
Right.
So that's when the Captain Cockpants
Pants.
costume came
Right.
out.
I had Captain Cock Pants for a good long time.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. I wear no pants was a lot of fun in Captain Cock Pants.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, how'd
You got to
do
watch
that
where you're
up?
pointing, or else you're
Yeah,
pointing
you had
to
the wrong side, and
Right.
you were like,
And they
people
know.
were confused. I'm like, wait a second.
He did that on purpose.
Maybe.
He probably did.
Engie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe someone more senior in the band paid him a little bit to.
To fuck that up.
All right.
That's
All right.
So yeah,
adorable.
come up. Oh shit.
Good job.
What do I do with all that? Oh well.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
Sorry, officer. No, I haven't been drinking. What are you talking about?
That's what you said for.
All right. So yeah, come out to the Renaissance Fair, renfair.com, renfair, no e.com, I think is the thing, or renfair.com/SoCal, SOCAL. Get all the information. We'll be out there. If you do come out to the fair, please come by and say hello. We love to meet people. We
Yeah.
act like we don't, but that's because we don't like people. But we do want to know that people are listening to the show.
And you
Very
ki-
important.
And you kind of like some people.
I do like some people.
Right.
Yeah.
Very few.
By very few, do you mean none?
And
I tolerate my children.
no, you love them.
I adore my
You
children
love them.
when they're asleep
Yes. Well,
and
when
not
they're-
talking
when
or
they're-
formulating
when
arguments.
they're adorable. Because they're a kind of adorable.
Zachary still has
Yeah.
his moments when he's adorable.
Yeah.
Yes, and now he's a Boy Scout. So now
He's
he was.
an Eagle Scout.
No.
isn't he?
I'm no. He's
Oh,
got
okay.
years to
I
go.
saw
before.
a
Yeah, no,
thing.
he's-
What did he just get? What was the ceremony?
I put up last Monday.
yeah.
This last Monday
Uh-huh.
was my 37th Eagle Scout anniversary.
Oh, wow.
March 19th, 1981, I became an Eagle Scout.
Did you put a picture up?
Huh?
Did you?
I put a picture of my Eagle badge, yeah. It's
I
on
want to see a
Facebook.
picture of young Stu.
Ooh, I have to see if I can have one. I
That would
probably
be
have one
Oh,
somewhere.
man, he was
Awesome.
probably svelte.
I had sort of
Well,
like the
curly
caterpillar.
hair. Totally curly hair.
I had a little
Caterpillar, no!
I had a little bit of a caterpillar, and I had these big plastic glasses, and I had a lot of hair, a lot of big wavy,
Wavy,
sort of
curly
blondish,
hair,
blondish
yeah.
hair.
Wow. I've never seen you with hair.
Oh, there was a picture a little while ago of your pre-band picture. Maybe
Back
it
when
was
Bill
right
and I
when
were
the
roommates.
Yes,
There's,
Oh,
And there
no,
was
wait.
hair.
I think I've seen that
they were a
picture.
little curly.
there's pictures of me with hair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
out in a backyard, your backyard,
In the
with
our
Bill.
backyard in on Los Coyotes in Long Beach. Yeah.
Yep.
I can still imagine in my mind's eye just how hilarious it would be for you and Bill to be roommates.
It was awesome. We had so much fun, and we would get it. And their tension would build. Bah, 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 bah. Love you, man. And then that's the way it
It's
was.
a BBC sitcom. It's like
Yeah.
Filthy Rich
Our-
and Cat Flap or something.
Our apartment, the carpet. I remember when I called. He and I had put the first and last months on the apartment, and they said it's going to be we have to get the apartment ready. And then, like about 3 days later, I've got all my stuff packed up from my parents' house. I'm ready to move, and I call her up, and I'm like, "Do you know when the move-in date is going to be? It's going to be another day or two because I'm trying to save the carpet." Good thing, because by the time we moved out, there were rips in the carpet.
Oh my God!
Big, huge gouges in the carpet. And it was disgusting. Because we were not clean.
It's okay because if they don't replace the floor or the carpet every 5 years, then they can't charge you.
Oh, we lived there
fucking
for
it up.
like 8 years. Yeah. We got all of our... that place...
Oh, so you guys were common law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
California doesn't have
close.
common law.
It did back in the day.
It doesn't anymore.
Yeah, but you said 1980 something.
I know that because I've been divorced.
Okay.
And I
And it's
asked
10
that
years
question.
anyway, though,
I asked
right?
that question to a lawyer, who was actually my divorce lawyer. I'm like, well, we've been married this long, but we were living together for like 8 years before that. What about common law? There's no common law in California.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
That's what my $300 an hour attorney said. So, but that apartment was a complete wreck. There was only 2 holes in the walls. Bill had one rage hole, but I was able to fix that. I went in and I bought
rage
slats
hole.
of wood and glued them to the and then cut out a piece of drywall and put it in and spackled it. They just had to paint it, right?
Wow.
And then I had a hole in my ceiling that was from a leaky roof.
Well,
It
that's
had
not your
nothing to
fault.
do with me.
Yeah.
But there was it was like this big. I mean, it was like like 6 inches in diameter. It was a big hole.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because a huge amount of water came through that hole. It rained a lot. Because that was one of the very first El Niños back in 91,
Yeah.
92.
Right.
Okay.
Right. When all of Long Beach flooded, I had. So did my bedroom. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was awesome. That was back in the day when we had. I had a giant 1 gallon Jim Beam bottle. No, it wasn't Jim Beam. What's the vodka?
Stoli.
It wasn't Stoli. No, it's cheaper. Come on.
Oh.
Alcohol potable.
It wasn't? Oh.
Smirnoff.
Yeah, I was gonna
Smirnoff,
say
okay.
Yeah.
I had a 1 gallon
Yeah.
Smirnoff bottle that had about 5 or 6 inches of vodka in it that I converted into a bong that we kept in the freezer.
freezer bong.
I did. I became.
I don't even know what.
I was a bong engineer back in the day.
Really?
Yes, and I had a little brass bowl on top, and it was all made with tape, and I had a hose that went from the thing just a little bit down into no, it went all the way into the water, and then I had a short hose, which is the one you pulled on, and then I wrapped tape between them and wrapped it around until it made a plug and pushed it down into the thing. So the one hose was down and swirled around inside the vodka. The nice thing about vodka, and this is important if you need to know this,
Lord.
if you live in a state where it's not legal, you probably shouldn't be listening to this. But the nice thing about alcohol is it has a much lower freezing temperature.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So it stays liquid much colder. So you can put this bottle of remnant vodka, which I would never drink after we used it a lot, and into the freezer, and it would cool down to probably, I'm going to guess, 20, 25 degrees. And then you pull the thing out, fill the bowl up, light it up, off the thing. And it's a big bottle, right? And you're like pulling off the hose, and the bowl is going. It's going down into this very cold stuff. And then it swirls around 3 or 4 times before it comes out into the cavity, and you pull it into your lungs. And by the time you're pulling it into your lungs, it's probably like 40 degrees or something. 0 burn.
Can I also say it's quite likely that there is some vapor of alcohol that came up with that, which is why there's no burn, because it would also probably numb that.
Right?
Yeah, anesthetize that.
And it was,
and would probably be a good experience if you like that sort of thing.
yes. And you pull that, no coughing.
You were a catch.
0 coughing.
Wow.
But the next morning you would wake up
brilliant.
and you would think you had pneumonia. Because you've been inhaling super cooled air all night with a bunch of smoke in it, which is now thoroughly embedded in the inner linings of your lungs. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Heavy Metal Just says, how come boys destroy houses? And said, I have never gotten my full security deposit back, but most of the time I leave a place cleaner than when I leave than when I got there. And it's so true.
In California, especially in Los Angeles,
yeah.
it is nigh impossible for the landlord to keep your security deposit unless you let them.
Yeah.
Because there are so many things a landlord
They're supposed to repaint,
supposed to do. Yeah,
replace carpet.
They're supposed to repaint every 3 years. They're supposed to replace the floor every 5 years.
Unless you do structural damage or something like that, if you live in a place more than 5 or 6 years, it's almost impossible to not get your hold deposit.
As a landlord who has evicted somebody and had to give them their entire security deposit back, and then spend $10,000 renovating the apartment,
right?
I know how difficult it is to actually
keep that money
unless you let them.
Yeah.
If people say, well, I'm keeping it because of this, and you let them, well, you just let them.
Yes.
But at least in Los Angeles City, it is very difficult to do that.
That makes sense.
I've never gotten a full deposit. I've never not gotten a full deposit back.
Right.
Ever. And in the Long Beach one, that was a travesty.
Because it sounds like the house.
And Long Beach is LA City.
No, Long Beach is its own city. It's part of LA County.
It is? It's LA County for sure.
LA City, goes down the blue line
around the harbor
and encompasses.
No, it doesn't.
Long Beach.
Long Beach is its own city.
Wilmington is part, and San Pedro.
Oh, but it has LA Harbor.
Yeah,
is what it is.
There's a strip of LA that runs down the
710
freeway or the 110. And goes all the way to San Pedro, because San Pedro is part of LA.
San Pedro is not.
San
Pedro's part of LA.
Everybody who does not live in the LA area is really bored right now.
Yes, they are. Actually, Glendale is actually part of LA too.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
They call it Glendale, but it's actually Los Angeles.
Right.
All right.
Alrighty.
Oh wait, hold on. This is for the people who wanted feedback, who gave me feedback that said they wanted to hear the soundboard.
Go away, Baton.
Why problem make when you no problem have you don't want to make?
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
I can't believe these men may control the fate of the Middle East.
Oh, wait, one more. Which one?
No, Johnny, these men are nihilists. There's nothing to be afraid of.
They're all good.
There we go.
All right.
Oh!
There is a survey, though.
Oh, yeah. If you we've had about a 30% drop in listenership over the past five to 6 months. Part of that I know is the fact that the IAB came up with their standardized way of measuring podcast downloads, and there was definitely a hit there. But there's still been a steady, not a huge decline, but a small but continuous decline since like January, and that's post IAB measurement standards.
God, that's totally my fault.
Oh fuck! It might be.
Yeah,
God
right?
damn it!
Right? Totally my fault.
So there's a thread on the forum because I'm trying to find out from people. Now, obviously, if you're listening to this, you haven't stopped listening to the show, so I don't know why I'm asking you. But if there are things about the show that you think have changed that has maybe caused this sort of drop in listenership, we would love to hear your opinions. Go onto the forum. It's under the very first thing. It's called State of the Podcast or something. You can go in there, put your opinions in there. I have read everything in there, and there are very active discussions going on right now to figure out what may or may not need to change to see if we can get those numbers headed back in the right direction. That's all I have to say about that. And life is like a box of chocolates. Oh, wait, damn it. Thank you for joining us for season 21, episode 12. Is it 12?
Episode 12.
12 of Happy Jacks RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Gina.
And I'm Kathy.
And thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next Friday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time for the next show. And then, let's see, we got L5R on Sunday, and then we have, what's on Monday?
Is it Interpol?
It'll be Interpol X.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday would be the other game.
Yeah, Werewolf.
Yeah. Right. And then that's it. And thank you very much for joining us. And we'll leave you with a song.
Bye-bye.
A nation once again, a nation once again, and Ireland long a province be, a nation once again. When boyhood's fire was in me blood, I read of ancient freemen, for Greece and Rome who bravely stood 300 men. And then I prayed I yet might see our fetters rent in twain, and Ireland long a province be, a nation once again, a nation once again.
This song goes out to all of our friends in England. Yeah, a little awkward, huh? Yeah, never mind. Forget I said anything.
Once again, and from that time through wildest woes, that hope has showed up our light. For good love's brightest summer glow outshined that solemn starlight. It seemed to watch above my head in forum, field, and fane. Its angel voice sang round my bed, a nation once again, a nation once again, a nation once again, and Ireland long a province be, a nation once again. It whispered to that freedom's ark, and service high and holy would be profaned by feelings dark and passions vain or lowly. For freedom comes from God's right hand, and he's a godly train, and righteous men must make our land a nation once again, a nation once again, a nation once again, and Ireland long a province be, a nation once again. So as I again, and Ireland long a province be, a nation once again.
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.
One problem make when you no problem have, you don't want to make.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.